I don't know if you guys can hear the little psst, psst, psst in the backyard. Someone's getting a roof done, it sounds like. Ah, okay. I don't have a whole lot of time this morning, but I would like to get started on adding the send ship menu or the send ship requests to the action queue. That is the goal. Also, I got some feedback I got the latest updates from my artist in regards to Wielders of Ether. That's my upcoming comic, so if you've been hanging out and checking that stuff, here we go. This is the official. Did I show this last time? Here's the cover. Yay! We got Selden up front, and we got Jazra and Simon. So Guardian of Life, Guardian of Time, Guardian of Technology. And Patrick Barrett, he is the artist. Fantastic artwork. He did this, I forget what program he said he was using, but it adds it's got a filter to add on the canvas. I thought it was a canvas painting at first, and he's like, no, it's a filter. I thought that was pretty cool. You can kind of get the close-up. You get the big creature in the background. This is Lucy, by the way. Inside joke. It's Lucy because it's a redhead. So you heard it here first, folks. This is the Suka homeworld. More on that later. So yeah, and there's Bruce Books, $14.99, and yeah, everything looks pretty good. Wielders of Ether, a little bit of Guardian of Time stuff in the background, some technology symbols, and yeah, kind of cool. Yeah, so here's kind of like a quick glimpse. The digital version is great because you get to zoom in and see like all the fine details of the artwork. Like once this is printed, you won't be able to zoom in on the print, you know. Patrick does a fantastic job with this stuff. Little glimpse of the battle. I like the anime style or manga style battle work. That was always sort of the goal when I went and hired the artist. I was looking for somebody who could do that. So, get this. There we go. But I'm not going to go through the whole comic. I don't want to spoil anything. So we'll get out of that and I'll go back to work. Work being StarQuest. I gotta get the Kickstarter page, so get this going. Oh, I will show this though, just for giggles and stuffs. Oh, I should get the stream connected as well. I don't want to show off too much, but yeah, I'll go here. That one I don't need. This I'll bring up. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so give you a little bit of inside peek. So this takes a while. We've been working on this thing for like a year. Year and a half now, I think. It's about a year and a half. Or is it 2 years? Did I hire him last July or the July before? I'll have to check. I think it's going on 2 years. Anyway, so this is whenever he sends me artwork for the thing, I go through it and I say, hey, you know, this is broken or this is not. So you can see. Here's a scene, you know, that was done up. So I went through and I was like, look, some things. So like here, Ireland was misspelled, so just highlighted that and sent it back to him. And then here, Selden's feet aren't colored. You know, you could make the argument, well, you know, the boots are that silver color because it's the trim of the suit. You know, silver here and silver there. It's like, no, the boots are clearly black. You know, so continuity, some things. You know. Here's like a battle scene where they're fighting. It's supposed to be oof or whatever. Off. Who shouts off? Right. Little stuff. A lot of it's nitpicky, but it's I don't want this to go out and be a mess. You know, I would like to be the best quality work that I can get. You know. But I just like looking at Patrick's artwork. He's just great at getting all these the dynamic movements in there. Everything looks fluid. Love it. So anyway, that's part of what I do throughout the day, is I go through and comb through and say, hey, this is broken here. I sent a message the other day. He's like, oh, well, you know, it wouldn't be me if I didn't forget something. I'm like, yeah, it happens. Got to appreciate your artists. Yeah. Oh, a lot of fun. I'm excited. I want to get the Kickstarter rolling, but some things need to happen before the Kickstarter. So anyway, with the time we got, Patrick just sent me a message. He was just cheering. I said everybody who saw it loved it, and he's like, yay. All right. So for this, last time we got adding the creation of the ships to the queue. We got adding buildings to the queue. And then I fixed a couple menus, fixed a couple bugs. I did not fix anything with the send ship menu where I have to do the resources. I said I'd get back to that, but it's just not that important right now. What I want to work on today is getting the send ship menu requests in. So for that, I'm going to open up send ship. Get our generated struct body. Things that we need for the ship if we want to send them out. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab a bunch of this stuff. Copy that. Pop it in here. Again, don't be a copy paster. Alright, this is send ship. Send ship. Send ship again. Alright, so we're going to need to know who is sending the stuff. We need to know the planet it's being sent from, but we also need the planet that it is being sent to. And the type of ship that's being sent out, yes, that would be something we need to know. There is no build time for sending this request, so we don't need build time. So I can take that off. Quantity we would need, and we need an extra planet, so I need to get this and do that. Yes. Okay, so this is going to be, I guess, start planet and end planet, or target planet, destination planet. What do I want? Or planet from and planet to. What naming convention would you use? If you were doing this, what naming convention? Planet A, Planet B, Planet 1, Planet 2. I guess I'll do home planet, and then I will do target planet. I think that's all we really need to know, right? So some other things we may want to know, and I may just do this as a separate separate action. So sending ships to a planet or to a destination isn't just as simple as sending them there. So if you just send a attacker to the planet, you know, then it automatically assumes that you're attacking. But if it's or if you send a ship to a planet that you own, it automatically docks at that planet. So that happens. What about when you send resources to a planet, right? If I send a supply ship out, how do I manage the resources going out? Should I prep send ship? Should I prep the send ship request with the ability to make those distinctions, or should I do it as a separate function for specifically for sending, like resources? That could be something to consider, right? If I say, because when you send ships out for like a trade route, there's a check for, is it a trade route? Is this a round trip? You know, what are the conditions of this? Or can you send ships out to attack with a round trip? So they go out and they like maybe shoot at the planet and then kind of turn around. You know, kind of stick and run. How do I want this request to work? Things you got to think of as you got to do a thing, you know. I can always modify it later. And then for like sending out a harvester, if I send a harvester to an asteroid, you know. So I kind of want this to be multifaceted. So I may have it set up that it can store multiple things. So then we would need the ship type. We would also need the resources that ship would be handling. But not necessarily. Well, I was gonna put a thing on here to store the resources, but that happens actually on the menu side. I may have to change how that works, because if you cancel, let's say you put in the queue that you're going to send out, you know, a supply ship and it's going to have 1,000 resources on it, and then, you know, just before the end of your turn you decide to cancel that. Well, you should get those resources back. So I may want to have that stored here, and then once it's executed, it passes to the ship. So I think I'm going to do that. So we'll plan ahead for that. Oops, I don't want to break that. Let's go here. And this is going to be... it won't be resource type. It will be... needs to be an array of resources. So a T array of resource types, and let me see what I have on the actual ship. How did I set that up? So ship.h, so ship type, armor type. So I've got the cargo on the ship stored as a array of resource types. And there should be an array of the quantity. Yeah, and the cargo capacity is here. I wonder why I did it as a float. Well, I guess because you can only ever send whole resources. Like you can't send half a resource. So resource type for cargo, and then resource. I don't know if I'm using return cargo. Actually, I may not need it. I won't need weapon types. Yeah, I think the resource type and then the amount. So we'll go back to here. So T array will be and then I need the resource amount. And this will be floats. Okay. Instead of quantity, just because I have two different types of quantities, I'm going to do number of ships. So number of ships. So as I'm building this, I'm seeing an error in my logic, which is the reason I have the send ships and send resources menus separate in game is those are two fundamentally different actions. whenever you're sending ships, you would send a certain number of ships, right? But when you send cargo, you're only ever sending one supply ship. So you can send a bunch of supply ships that are empty, or you can send one supply ship that has cargo. So I can do this as a single function that handles both. But you're better off, in most cases, you're better off having a function perform a single action, or a single set of actions. That way they're not conflicting with each other and the function's not too big. So if I stick to my guns and just have this one be the send ship, and then later do resources. But I would need to know similar information. I would also need to know if it's a round trip or if it's a trade route. So let's do this. This is a bool. So I'm going to copy this. I will paste it. And this will be F action send cargo. And since I'm doing send resources, I would not have a number of ships. I'd only ever send one. And then on this one, I won't need these. Okay. So send ship, send resources. And then I can add those to here. And then the next one, I'll do this one as send cargo. Okay. So now I have to make some functions. Down here. So we need the player, we need the planet. And then we'll do another planet for the target planet. The ship type is needed, and the quantity is needed. So the I'll do number of ships. I think that's what I called it up here. Number of ships, yep. Okay. Welcome to the stream, by the way, if I haven't said hi. Okay, so we know who's sending it, the planet it's being sent from, the planet it's going to, and the ship type, and the number of ships. I think that's right. At some point I'll have to set up battle formations. Right now the ships just go from one planet to another. But they shouldn't actually enter the atmosphere of another planet until that planet is conquered. So that's something I have to handle later, but it's in the back of my mind. Okay. Usual suspects. I need to get the action send ship. And that'll be the ship that I'm sending. And then things we need to know about the ship. So, ship.player. Ship.home planet will be the home planet in queue, and then ship.target planet will be the target planet in queue. Ship type will be the ship type. Pretty straightforward, and this gets added to the queue. So action queue dot send ship dot add ship. Now I do have number of ships here, but this action happens off of a button, so I press the plus sign. No, I'm good, because this will take in the amount that's on that plus sign. It'll go directly in, it'll feed, and then we'll have this. It's not like adding it. It's not like we were doing before, where every time we hit the button, we were adding it to a queue. Instead, you're actually adding to the menu, and then when you hit the button, it then adds it to this action. So I think it's okay to take in the number of ships here. Okay. So that's good there. And then there's nothing in the queue that needs to be updated. Once the ships are sent out, they're done. They'll do whatever they gotta do, and they'll do their return. Theoretically. Hey Raj, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Today's a Thursday. How's your Thursday morning going? One second. Sorry, I was responding to somebody in our group. Hey, Pratik. Did I say that right? Pratik. Yo, how's it going? Okay, so we have this set up here. This gets called directly from menu, I think. Let me go and check. Do I have a send ship thing in here? I've got deliver payload. Create a trade route. Get a valid target. Got move. Okay. So that's not on there. Do I have one on the plan? I'm pretty sure I built this in menu. So define planet. Make home planet. Event tick. Produce resources. Construct building. Spawning ships. And then spawn supply ship. Yeah, I think I'm good. I should just be able to call that from there and basic it in the count. Okay, so I'm going to jump over to game mode, and then I'm going to go up to the update. Where are you, Mr. Update? Update actions in action queue. So the next action in the queue should be sending ships. So I'll do send ships. Okay, this action does not need to stay. but I may have more than one action to do. Also, my spidey senses are tingling to fix something. Hold on. I did a thing yesterday, and then I realized it was silly. So I did this this if statement for this loop here, but really this is not needed since the loop won't run if this action is not met. So I think I'm safe to turn this off. I'm going to turn it off and see if it breaks anything. It shouldn't break anything, but I thought about last night. I was in bed and I was like, oh, that was silly. I didn't need to do that. So, but I will double check my work and then remove that entirely. Okay, so I'm here. I need to get the number of actions in the queue. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than the action queue dot send ship num, and then plus plus. So we'll do that. Some things that need to happen. We need to make sure that I'm just planning out in my head how the action sequence is going to go. Pretty much everything is going to be executed at the same time, roughly. So I don't think we'll run into an issue where the player no longer exists or the planet is no longer owned by time this fires, but we should check to see both. So make sure the player still exists, planet, and that the planet is still owned. So those two things still need to happen. So I'm going to go up to here, and I'm going to just steal this if statement. So I don't have to rewrite it, because that's a long thing to write. And I'll just double check it. This will be send ship. Alright, so action queue send ship. Make sure the player is active, and send ship. Make sure we get the player, and then send ship. We will check the planet. This is going to be the home planet in this case. So this will be the home planet. Something that we're going to have to take care of. This will be on the ship side of things, but after, let's say a ship goes out and does whatever its job is, and then it wants to return to the home planet. Well, if the home planet is no longer owned by the player, then that ship is returned to its death. So I'm going to have to set up a reroute system, so if it detects the home planet is no longer viable, that it finds the nearest planet available, I think would be best. Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining me. But yeah, I think that's what will have to happen. Anyway, so we are establishing whether or not the planet still exists. If the planet does exist, or if the planet is still owned and the player is still alive, then we can do the next part. I don't have any build time, so I have to check that. So it should just be calling the spawn action. So I want to call... can I call spawn ship? Because that is on ship.cpp. Define ship, let's see, is valid. I passed it. Oh, I'm silly. That action's on the planet. Okay. So let's go back to the game mode. We will get the home planet on this. So action queue, send ship. We'll get the index dot home planet. Send ship. Sorry, spawn ship. Alright, so the spawn needs to know the player, so that's going to be this. I also know the ship type, so that's going to get the ship type from there, so I'll just do action queue, send ship dot ship type. And then I need to know the amount of ships to send, so that'll again be the action queue dot number of ships. I think that's simple enough, and I don't need to add these back to the main queue. So I think we're okay. We're good to exit here, because it'll just send every single iteration of these and then go. Alright, let's play. And I've got an error. What is my error? I'm not sure. But I did not do this. What error is triggering? Ring internal. It's probably mad that I'm not doing anything with that. If that's the case. That one also failed. Let's see, the command, target, project, 4-star level. I don't see a valid reason for that to fail. I got a report of no errors. So why are you failing? I did not update Visual Studio, so I don't think that's the case. I can turn off everything that I've done and see if it builds. Oh, did I never change the name of... Send ship, send resources. My OCD makes me do this. And this will be send resource. Not that this broke anything, but I'm just cleaning it up. I don't know why this one is greeny. 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks fine there. No missing semicolons. But this is the only... Oh, there's no use struct. There we go. Hey, welcome to the stream. Ooh. So 9:40. I might have just enough time to hook this up in the menu. So the first thing I'm testing is this function here. Which one did I fix break? Where is you? That's sending ships. Here. That is the add the ship to the queue. I want to make sure that this doesn't break. I shouldn't have issues adding the ships to the queue. I'll go ahead and just open that. But just in case. I'll make 2 and I'll fire. Game mode. You're a jerk. Queue. Maybe I shouldn't greet people when they pop onto the stream, because every time I say hi to them, welcome to the stream, they all disappear. Yeah. It's my lovely, charming personality. Alright, so we can add stuff. That still works. Already in build queue, no issues there. I will add some stuff. Yay, no issues there. We'll end. Okay. And then I should be able to create a ship. Add it to action queue. What happens if I add another one? That gets added, and I can add this one. That gets added. Yeah, so that call was redundant, or that check that I did was redundant. And then same thing here. I should be able to get its own. I can add extras. Yes, and yes. And then if I end turn, some of those are reduced. Player 0 and player 1 still have something in. And I can end turn. Okay, so that all works. You got a class to go to? Have a good one. See you later, the Schwet. Welcome to the stream, if you're just popping on. Doing my best to break everything. So we need to be in the send ship place. So where is that? Let me go to the send ship menu. There we are. And then where is send ship? This is update location of ship and list. Location widget. Okay, send. So we hit the send button and a bunch of stuff happens. The thing that will be changing will be the function for that, I think. So this usually happens from here. And I send the ship and the type. And then spawn ship happens. That's from player HUD. I don't know how much of this menu I have to break to make this work, so I have to kind of comb through it to see. So if resource tab is open, we get this menu for getting the resources. This will be handled later. Otherwise, I've got this one. I think receiving is just the number of ships. Okay, so that's coming off of player input being passed into here. Update resource amount directly off of completed. And then spawn ships. So this one is happening off of here. So I'll put a comment box here. Make sure that's something that I'll see. This one goes to here. No value will be returned by reference parameter resource type, spawn supply ship. Okay. So instead of using this, I'm going to get from the game mode. Right now this is coming from player and then docked planet, but I need the game mode instead. So game mode, to pop you into here, game mode. And the one I'm going to want will be action queue send ship. This should look somewhat similar to this thing. Alright, so player in the queue will be him. Docked planet will be this one. The target planet. We were talking about that yesterday. Should I put the target planet directly on the player, or should I put it on the player controller? Right now, it does live on the player controller. So how was I getting it? That's a good question. Let's go to the ship here. And it's grabbing the player's selected planet. So I'm grabbing that directly from the player. So I may not need to supply it here. I will need to supply it on my function here, because it'll error out if I don't. But I may be able to get away with that. So I'm going to pass this directly in. In the previous few builds, I had to do the value going in -1, but I may have handled that already on there. So on send ship, yeah, so it's not actually getting from there. Okay. So I do have a selected planet from the player. I'll just pass that in from here. And then this one will go here. And we'll fire this. Okay. Let's see if this thing works. In theory, I should be able to add a send ship order to the queue, and then when I hit end turn on the final turn, it should send the ship out. So I'll get 2 players. I'll make a couple planets. And I will get this and the queue. Yep, and then I'll just end turn. Cool. Create some ships. Create some ships. End turn. Okay. Let me see if I can send a ship. So I'll go here. I'm on planet 4. So let me select a planet. That's planet 3. I want to send a ship. That goes to my send ship order. Okay. But I have multiple. I should only have one entry. So that's weird. I'm sending... my home planet is planet 3. My target planet is planet 2. So, as far as array ordering is concerned, that's correct. So 4 and then 3. I'm sending an attacker. The number of ships I'm sending is just the 1, but I get that order again. And then I have that again. I wonder why that fired multiple times. Okay, well, I'm going to end the turn. Where's my home planet? Oh, one thing I should do is in the menu, you can see when I clicked off, oh, the turn ended automatically. When I clicked off, the number of attackers got refreshed back to the default. It didn't actually remove them from the local count. They're probably gone now, but yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to go back to here. I want to end the turn. Yeah, and then the ship goes. I did see the ship come out of the planet, so that does happen. And then that queue got updated. Alright, so I'm on player 1 again. You can see this got updated. I'm going to add 2 ships to the queue this time, and then hit send. So now my order, I got 2. I'm sending 2 attackers from those 2. From that planet to that planet, that's good. I don't know why I have an empty... That I'm not sure of. I have to go check my logic. But you can see this. I have the count is down to 2. And if I select a planet, it went back to 4. So that might give me the impossible ability of sending more ships than I have. So let me go ahead and just for funsies send another order. I'll send 4 ships this time to planet 1. And I was able to. Okay, so it did let me send some magical ships. I'm going to have to fix that. I've only got a few seconds left, so end turn. End turn. There's a bunch of ships going. There they are. Boom. So I can send the ships. Hooray. Couple things I'm going to have to fix, though. And while I'm at it, while I'm here, why not just send a whole crap ton of ships? Let's see. Darn you! So it does cap that. So the reason it was allowing it to stay is the count was not updating on the back end. So I'm going to have to do that. Once send ship happens, I need to make sure that count gets deducted. So I'm going to hit exit. Yeah, I got a bunch of errors. Nobody cares. Okay. After send ship happens, I need to call that. I wonder why I went back to here to do it anyway. I guess technically because it's on the menu. I did it from there. Well, that should get called. Update resource amounts should get called when because I hit the button, and that all happens. Where does this come from? That is coming from destination ship child list. And there's receiving count. Where on the menu does that count get updated? Let me get the send ship child. Send ship, that's the destination location. Update local count. That does happen on there. That's weird. Why would that do that? That's being updated. It's getting harder and harder to test this stuff. More stuff I have to go through. I'll end turns a few times, it's fine. Couple ships. Okay. I'm on planet 2, so I'll grab planet 1. That says 10, 11. So it didn't deduct. So at what point does that deduction actually happen? This update text count goes here, update text count local count, gets updated, but that happens there. Huh. How is the local count being supplied? Let me go back. Who is calling you? This came back from here, from send ship. Way down here. What are you doing down here? So on the add button, we get the local count, but where is that coming from? I know I updated here. Can't just sit on a magical number. Well, I'm going to have to dig for where that variable is getting set. Because it has to get set whenever I hit send. At least it used to. Because this is the destination. Spawn ship count. I think this is the reason I'm getting multiple hits. May have to change how this works entirely. I don't remember why I'm getting the destination child list. Let me go and figure out who the heckadoodle this is. Why was I getting that? Okay, so that's coming off the menu. So when I come here, when I hit the plus sign and it adds something to this, there's an array of potential destinations. That's what that list is. So on the location list here, this is Yeah, this is the left side of the list. Let me go look at the right side of the list. Hey, AP, how's it going? You're hopping on near the last minute. I'm going to be hopping off in a few. I got a buddy of mine coming by to take me to the gym. But trying to get the most out of the time that I've got. Let's go to the destination child. Anything on here? I don't think so. Just the receiving text. It's weird that it's not getting the count. It's got to. It has to get it from somewhere. So I'm going to go back to... Let's go to the design view here. We've got our from list, location. Let's check you. Ship name. Where's this count coming from? Let's go look for you. There's text count there. Any other references? Just the one. Hey, look at that. Twins! I threw some frisbees earlier. Played some disc golf. Today is going to be some random weights. Not sure what I'm doing. I'll lift something. Cardio technically is Saturday. I do my running on Saturdays. Yeah, I don't know where it's getting. It has to get the current number of ships at the planet from somewhere. I just know where it's getting them from. Okay. But, I mean, this kind of sort of is working. It's just not working the way that I want it to work. Story of my life. Well, let's see if we can have... the other purpose of this is to see if we can get ships to fly from both planets at the same time and go do their stuff. So... So I'll end the turn, I'll get these, I'll end the turn. I've got end turn a couple times to make sure everything's cleared. Yep. I'll make a couple attackers. Now end the turn. This one will make a couple attackers. End the turn. So both planets should have attackers now. So on player 1, I'm on planet 2. Let's send to planet 4. I'll send an attacker to planet 4. Send. And then I'll send an attacker, I don't know. Is this planet 3? It's planet 3. Here's another Q. And send one here. But see, this count is the one that's not getting updated. I need to figure out where the heck that's at and get that updated. Alright, now end my turn. And now for this player's on planet 3. Says my ride is almost here. Okay, 10:30 and 10:45, so I got some time. Alright. So I'll send one of those. Ooh, I gotta choose destination order. I wonder if it still had the wrong planet in the background. And then I'll do, is this planet 3? Planet 1, planet 2. Okay, so all orders are in, and now we end turn. I'll go to look at the menu. So ship's going. Cool. Now what happened? What is the end result? Do we have, are the active players inactive? Let's see what we got. Active player list. Player 1 and player 2 are still there. Okay. But planet list should have been updated in theory. Okay. I should have watched this because it would have been neat to see if player 1 or 2 lost their planet. Alright, let's look at the players. And we'll get the planet. Planet list. So this player has only that planet. And that one only has, that one's at 2. Okay. So that does work. I don't know what's going to happen if, like, everybody gets killed. So that's another thing that why there needs to be a limbo space, right? So at the end of the turn, and all things are executed, all the actions are executed. Right now, it just sends me back. So if I hit, end turn, I got a menu. Cool. You gain planet 2. Awesome. So that popped up. If I end turn again, this guy didn't get anything. But if I end player 2's turn, it goes immediately to player 1. It needs to go, whatever the last turn is, it needs to go to some limbo space to allow all the orders to be executed. And then, after that, it becomes player 1's turn again. If it's over the shoulder, like if it's on the same machine, I think maybe I'll have it go to an overhead view so we can see all the things happen. When it's on peer-to-peer, that won't be necessary. So I should create a limbo player. Like a default thing, I guess. That way I can have control of the camera at that time. Yeah, I'm going to have to work out the logistics of how that's going to work. Dragon Ball universe is full of planet busters. What is a planet buster? Is that like they do a Kamehameha and blow up the planet? Is that how that works? Or like Frieza does the death ball? Okay. Alright, so end that. Lots of errors. Huh. This is on subtract. Seems weird. That's the destination child list, but I don't see the location child list. Okay. I feel like I'm going in circles. Yeah, I'm familiar with the Dragon Ball universe. I thought you were talking about like the game, like what was that? Sparkling Zero? That's the newest one out. Piccolo blew up the moon. Everybody's blowing up the moon, though. Master Roshi blew up the moon once. And they wished it back. But who wished it back, like, after that? Did the moon ever come back after Piccolo blew it up? I don't remember. Remember during the Saiyan saga, Vegeta was like, I noticed that someone conveniently removed the moon. Like, that's why he had to use the thing. But I don't know if the moon came back after that. I guess I'll find location text and let's go. Well, no, it wouldn't be on the location text. Let's get the size box for local ships. SB local ships. Let's find you. There it is. That's the thing I needed. That is on update location ship list. So I got the length, okay, and then I'm coming in from here. Location ships get index, and then from there, the count is getting updated from here. So this needs to be refreshed. Update local ship list. Which means that once the request is sent out, I need to actually subtract those from the planet. Destination ship list. That gets decremented here. But where does it actually get removed? That has to get set back. I'll find it eventually. Yeah, I don't know if I ever update the actual count. Maybe I did on the HUD menu. I just didn't check. So on spawn ship count, I probably deduct it from the spawn ship menu. Or from the spawn ship thing. So from here, yeah. So ship list, remove the ship from this off ship count. So that's where that deduction actually happens. So it should be safe to refresh once I hit that. It should be safe to refresh that menu. Piccolo destroyed an illusion of the moon. If it was just an illusion of the moon, then why did it trigger Gohan's transformation? Was the illusion of the moon creating the appropriate Blutz waves? Like, what? I don't know. Okay. So once we hit the send ship button, I want to go back to location. Crap. Update location ship list. That needs to be on there. Update location ship list. Where is the send button? Send button, all this stuff happens. And I'll fire that. Update location ship list. Does this really need to happen on a loop, though? I don't know. Because this was originally the thing that spawned the ship, so it was firing on a loop. But I don't think I need to anymore since the loop is handled internally. So I'm going to bypass this. But I still need to get the value from here. Which means I need to know the index of the thing that I'm targeting. Well, poop. Not sure how I want to handle that. Oh, he might actually be here. Oh, he's not. Okay. Well, I have a lot of things being handled by the function, but this is the way it worked previously. And I'm trying to remember exactly what this is doing so that when I break it, I'm not breaking something else. Because I can pass this directly into this call. And that bypasses this loop, but this loop is getting information from that count. But I don't know what index it's grabbing. So, and I don't remember exactly what I was trying to do here. So I have to remember that so that I can adequately assess what I'm breaking. I mean, I can just try this and see what breaks. But I suspect some of this will fail since this loop isn't being fired, so it doesn't know which index to grab. But let's see what happens. We'll roll it. Oh no, you're good. You're good. I appreciate the suggestion. We'll roll the dice. I'm happy to try. Put a couple plants in there. Let's see what happens if if I break it. Worst case scenario is it doesn't update the correct count. At least I think that's the worst case scenario. It could just be that's the plant list. I want to get the queue. If I can spell. So I've got the queue there. Now I should be able to make some ships. Yep, and then I'll make some more ships. Okay. Now let's try to send some ships. If it breaks, then we got an issue. Well, no. So I'm on planet 1, so let me grab this planet out here. That's planet 4. says Planet 4 has 3 attackers on it, so I'm guessing that's the one that the other player owns. I'll get this one. And I'll send a ship. So, in theory, that should stay as 2. And that did. And this only fired as 1. So that looks like that worked there. Like I said, I'm just going to roll the dice. So far it didn't break. We'll see. We'll see. Bypassing the loop may just be fine. As we are seeing here. And it did only add the 1, so the loop was causing the multiple instances of this stack that I was seeing. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead and grab this one, and I'm going to send... Ooh, that's weird. That's weird. Oh, I just selected my own planet. Never mind. But it did refresh this back to there. So it didn't... Huh. Because this is back to 3. And I have one loaded in the chamber here. So this looked like it was working, but I guess not. Oh, my time ran out. Let's go ahead and end the turn and see what happens. So that one fired. That got updated. Ship is going. Ship hit. Okay. So it did solve one problem, which was it getting repeated instances. I don't know. I'll just put a comment on that. I get a bunch of errors anyway. I'm just going to put a comment box on this. Leave myself a comment, and I'll come back and check it if something else. Because it got the count though. So, yeah, that's going to linger in my brain. I'm going to have to go through and remember exactly what I was doing off that list. I assume I'm getting... It'd be easier to show. I assume what's happening is this. Come here, play button. I don't remember exactly, but I think what's happening is this is the destination list. This is the location list, right? And each one of these is going to be in that stack, right? So I think the way that loop is working is it's grabbing a number of attackers or a number of harvesters or number of supply ships and then passing that number in. I think that's what that loop is doing. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's doing. But because you can send more than one ship in a transaction, because I can send these or those if I have them available. So in that case, it would fire that, you know, for however many. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and take a closer look at exactly what I'm doing with that loop. I think that's what's happening, but yeah. So, in the... Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, the PC's taking off the background. Yeah, the thing's just soaring. So, to answer the question, the sending of the ships and all that was handled almost exclusively on the widget. But because I'm changing how this is working to be more turn-based, I had to add the action of sending the ships to the action queue. So that's handled in C++. So I'm pulling some things off of the widget and, you know, leaning more on the C++ side of it to be handled. But I have to kind of dig through and see what I'm breaking, which is why we're cracking a bunch of eggs today. So as I'm looking at this thing, yeah, so this is the destination list, which would have been the attackers or the harvesters or whatnot. So I think that's correct. And I want to get the count of those ships that I'm sending in. I think that's correct. But I only want to fire... this thing if the receiving count is greater than 0. Oops. I think that's what's going on. So I'm going to do greater than 0. And then let's branch this. So the part on the widget side, this is where the user is saying this is how many ships I want to send. So I need to get from the user how many ships are being sent, which is what the widget is doing. I need to pass that into the function that's handled on the C++ side. So if it is greater than 0, I can pass this in. Ah, don't be a jerk. I think the reason I never noticed this firing multiple times in the past was if it was a 0 count, it just didn't fire. But I didn't write in C++ to make sure that it couldn't accept a 0 amount, so I guess I'll just do that here. But if this works, then I can go back and just do it there. So let's see. Give myself a few extras. Ah, no problem. No suggestion is ever really stupid. It may not always be applicable, but you only have... I view every critique through the lens of the critiquer. You know, it's like I'm only seeing this today for this few seconds. You know. All right, I'll load those up. I'll load these up. I'll end a couple turns. Yay. All right, let's see if we get the correct update now. So add a couple ships. I'll do some on this one. Cool. Now I'm going to try to send some ships. Can I send ships to this planet? I'm going to send 2 ships this time. Actually, I'll send all 3. I'll send all 3 ships. That way, that runs. Cool. That's in the queue. That's empty. If I refresh this list, will these come back? Let's refresh the list. Those came back. So this list did not get updated. So I'll have to fix that. But I think this is working fine. Okay. Let's in turn. And I'll let this player, which is on planet 2, I'll send to planet. I'll send to that planet. Alright, now we'll end the turns. Ships going out from different places. Yay. And that works. So that solved getting multiple instances of that being ran. So the widget is not updating because I didn't tell it to, I don't think. It's not on a tick, so it's not going to update every frame. But it should have updated here. But I never passed in a docked planet, so that would have probably just failed in the background. So that needs to be the docked planet from the player. Of course, it also might not be... oh, I know it's not happening. Yeah, I'm just being stupid. I know it's not happening. Hold on a second. We'll come back to this. So, on the spawn ship call, that's when I update the ship count. But really, this needs to happen over here. So whenever on the actual add ship to the queue, I should be subtracting it from the home planet. I should be doing that here. Not there. On here. That way that happens earlier. And if that gets canceled, then I'll have to come back. Anyway, but I have to bounce. My ride is here. So, sorry to jump and run, but gotta go. Thank you guys for joining me. See ya.